Hello and good day, everyone. Welcome back to the show. I'm Sean David. Thanks for tuning in. Let's talk some old school NBA. In today's episode, we got a true NBA legend, the X-Men, Xavier McDaniel. Welcome to the show.
Thank you. Thank you. Nice to be here.
Now, X, I want to talk a little bit about your career, but I have one question that I always ask my guests right from the start. I want to know, who were the players that you were looking up to when you were a kid?
The guy I looked up to probably in South Carolina would be Alex English. I grew up watching him, University of South Carolina. We're pretty much from the same area. He's a little bit about a mile or two from me, but basically the same area. But on the national level, Julius Erving was probably my favorite player. I love Bill Walton. Never told him that, but I got his in South Carolina. Everybody called me the Mountain Man. The X-Men, mostly people outside of South Carolina call me that. Either they call me X or Mountain. But I was dubbed the Mountain Man when I was about 14 years old.
I never knew that.
Right, that's one of my nicknames.
But nice one. Which one do you prefer?
X-Men, because it's they're like a comic hero, So I feel like I'm a comic hero, even though I may not be on any comics. But Professor Xavier, he's the white version, I'm the black version.
Nice. Now, you were drafted in 1985 with the 4th pick by the Seattle Supersonics. Can you walk me through the day of the draft? What was it like?
Nerve-wracking. You know that you can go anywhere. Patrick Ewing was definitely going to New York at 1. And basically, we knew Wayman Tisdale was going number 2. And number 3 was the Clippers. Number 4 was Seattle. And I felt like I wanted to be a Seattle Supersonic. And it wasn't nothing against the Clippers, but they were losing a lot. Guys were always getting hurt when they get there in the 80s. It was a bad stigma. I just did not want to be there. So the night before the draft, we went out, me and David Falk, my ex-wife. And at dinner, he was like, the Seattle Supersonics just traded the 4th pick, and all the wind just left out of me. I was like, oh, my God. Now I knew I was going to Atlanta. I was like, damn, I guess I'm going to Atlanta. I guess I'm going to reunite with Cliff and Antoine. And all of us play the same position, along with Dominique. So I didn't know how that was going to work out. So I was like, oh, crap. And then he would say, oh, I'm just kidding. I was like, man, don't be doing that. It's just nerve-wracking, man. And when your name is called, it's just like a sign of release, going to Seattle. And I knew being that number 4 pick, I had to come in and I had to do some things to show people that being from Wichita State, I belong and I can be a star in this league.
Now, suddenly you're on the floor with some of the biggest legends. You were playing against Magic Johnson. You mentioned Dr. J, Larry Bird, and all of those guys. Who was the one guy that you were looking up to the most to play against? Like who were you excited about to play against?
Probably Julius Erving, the doctor. The doctor was on my wall as a kid. I had his poster with the doctor. He's standing over. I think every kid had that picture. I also had it. So I think when I look back, 1985, I already had met Magic in Millersville, Georgia at a basketball camp. I was a counselor, and him and Isaiah was there to speak. And I can't remember this other guy name, but me, him, and Magic and Isaiah played 2-on-2. And first, it was like the kids at the camp was like, and I was a sophomore or a junior at Wichita State at the time, and the kids like, Magic, you can't beat the X-Man. You can't. And he was like, who's the X-Man? You know how Magic gets so animated. And they were like, that's the X-Man. So they got me and another guy, and we played him, man. We went at him toe-to-toe. And that was my introduction to Magic Johnson. I play against Alex English every year when I would come home from school and when we would play during the summers and stuff. But I kind of had met Magic then, so it wasn't to look up as much as your childhood idol. You know, Julius Erving was just somebody that when he scooped and went baseline and took it under, man, I can't even tell you how many times I tried that move and the hang time of just trying to be like him. But then as you grow older, you start realizing that you just need to be who you are. And for me, I knew I had to be the type of player that I played at Wichita. Nonsense, hard, aggressive, don't back down from nobody. And that's what made me a star in the NBA.
Absolutely. Now, you mentioned earlier that you wanted to prove that you belonged. You had an amazing rookie season. You were averaging, I think, 17 points and 8 rebounds. Right. In all honesty, how mad were you at Patrick Ewing for snatching that Rookie of the Year award?
Every time I see Patrick, we talk on the phone maybe once a month or so. But when I go to his house, I'm like, man, let me look at my trophy, man. I mean, everybody knows that was my trophy. There's no way you could, and that's what I told him, there's no way you could validate that. If that's the case, then why didn't Zion Williams win Rookie of the Year? He had the most hype. He had a lot of hype like Patrick Ewing coming out. I love Patrick. Patrick's a great, great guy. And I think that he would never really mention it. I think if he played 70 games, yes, he probably would have deserved it. He averaged 20 points and about 9 rebounds.
He only played 50 games, I think, or something.
Right, 50 games. That means he missed 32 games. So he only played about 60% of the games. I played all 82. So I was telling him, I said, you take away my worst 32 games and then do an average, then my average is going to be just up there with you because I had quite a few bad games hit that rookie wall. So you didn't play but 50 games, so you missed 32 games. I mean, I played 80. I played 82, so I felt like I should have got Rookie of the Year, and I think that was hands down. I just think that, you know, Patrick, number 1 player in high school, number 1 player in college, and number 1 draft pick, and then he's in where? The Mecca of all Meccas.
Yeah,
he in New York City, but he knows how I feel about that, and I just feel like I should have been Rookie of the Year. I think everybody felt that way. And the funny thing is, I also even thought I should have made the All-Star team next year. I mean, I had a pretty good year for a rookie. And then I don't make it until my 3rd year. After I averaged 23 points and 8.5 rebounds, I was 10th in the league in scoring. I think I was number 1 in small forwards, 2nd behind Dominique, and number 1 in rebounding that year, and I don't even get elected. But I just tell you the politics of basketball.
I appreciate your honesty. I was always curious about how you felt about that rookie season because I also thought if you win the Rookie of the Year award, you got to play at least 70 games. You got to be there. And of course, Patrick was injured; he got hurt. But still, if you play 50 games, I think but hey,
9 games over 50%.
Yeah,
I don't even think that's 60%. I think that's more or less like 58% of the season. But I love Patrick. That's a great guy, man. I call him. He's gonna pick up the phone. We've known each other for a while. I met him back when I was 19 years old. We was in the Pan Am tryouts, and he said, "Boy, you one crazy dude." And we were on the same team, and I was like, you score, I rebound. I know you block shots, but this is what I do. This is when I was leading the nation in scoring. I was not scoring, but I was leading the nation in rebounding my sophomore year. I hit him in the stomach and said, all rebounds belong to me. So he said, man, you crazy.
Now, you already mentioned your second season was amazing. You were averaging 23 points, 8 rebounds, and you didn't make the All-Star team. But you were up there with the great forwards in the league. You played against Dominique toe-to-toe. You played against Larry. And there's this, I'm sorry that I have to mention that, but there's that one video on YouTube. I think it's
I already know.
It's called Larry Bird's Trash Talk Moments, and you tell and you tell a funny story about. Yeah, can you just say it again? You can say it much better than I can, but it's just so funny.
Well, they call a timeout, and he was walking, said, "You know, I'm gonna get it right here, and I'm gonna shoot in your face." I said, "I know, and I'll be waiting." And I looked at him, and he came out and said, "I'm gonna shoot this right in your face." And you watch the video, you see me and him just banging, but he bumped me enough to make me lean back just enough, so by the time I recovered, he was able to get it off. And then he looked at me and said, "Damn, I didn't mean to leave." But once he said, "Damn, I didn't mean to leave nothing on the clock." And it was like 1 point something seconds left on the clock. I just looked at him like, this conceited bastard. And I was like, oh. But I mean, Larry's a great trash talker, great player. I just don't like guys who talk and don't back it up. You know, this is the type of guy that he would just talk. You know, I always tell people, I have another story. He was like, one day, we was playing him in Boston. My grandmother, I was into a funk. I wasn't really into the game. And I shouldn't have played that night. My grandmother had just passed. And he scored like 42 points and like 15 rebounds, 12 assists. And my mom, who don't even watch basketball, said, "Damn, I was looking at the sports, and then Larry Bird killed your ass." I said, "Huh?" I said, "I didn't even guard Larry Bird." I said, "Derek McKee guard Larry Bird." So this was like my fourth season. So the next time we were playing them, Bernie Bickerstaff said, "X, you got Kevin McHale." I said, "No, I got Larry Bird." He said, "No, Derek McKee is our best player." I said, "Yeah, he may be our best player, but when my motherfucking mother called me and tell me somebody just busted my ass, I got to guard him because now I'm going to be guarding him for real." So I was like, I'm on his ass. So when they call a timeout, I would walk basically to make sure that he was either leaving the game or going into a timeout, talking trash. Fourth quarter came around, he said, "Oh shit, X, I'm about to light your ass up in this fourth quarter." I looked up at him and I said, "Look up at that score. I've been lighting your ass up all night." So that is always my comeback when people ask me about that. So I finished that game with like 28 points and like 10 rebounds, 12 rebounds. And I held him to 9 and stuff. So that was mine because normally I do guard the small forward, but when Derek McKee became a starter, a lot of times I would guard the 4, even though I was a small forward. But when people see the matchup, and it was like, "Damn, Dominique killed the XR. Wow." But I was guarding maybe Kevin Willis or somebody, or Cliff Levingston or Antoine Carr. But because I played a small forward, it looked like that's that matchup and what they call that cross matchup. And I'm like, "No, I didn't guard him." Well, that ain't what they say. They say he taught you. So,
You know, I really appreciate all your honesty. So I'm going to ask you something, and I hope I get some more information. Now, it's no secret that you are one of the most feared players of your era. They're like,
I don't know why.
That would be. Now, my first question is, when did you realize that people didn't like to funk with you?
Probably about my second year. Or maybe my second year. The first year, I think I got in 13, 14 fights. Everybody was trying me. And I felt like when the bullies come, if you don't stand up to the bullies, they keep doing it. So my thing was to fight back. And when I would talk with Ron Thorne, he was like, "X, you got to walk away." I said, "From where I'm from, you don't walk away from people where I'm from." I said, "If you don't stand your ground, they will continue." So by my second year, I didn't get in as many fights because they knew that, hey, this guy going to fight. That's one thing about NBA players. They're going to test to see how far you can go. And if you don't respond back then they're going to keep doing it. Like, I will put it like when Mike was playing and everybody started hitting him out, they realized, oh, this guy's great. And so when they pick up Charles Oakley, then people didn't do it as much because then Oakley would step in. But then when Oakley left, who was that tough guy? Mike had to learn how to play through it. I wasn't playing through it. I was setting the stage that I belong here, but I'm not going to take nobody crap. And if you want to start it, I'm going to finish it. That's my mentality. And if you understood where I came from, you could understand it, because I came from a tough neighborhood, a tough background. I mean, I could have easily been a drug dealer, someone who robs and steals people. But I had good parents that, even though we live in that neighborhood, they held me accountable for every little thing that I did. And so I would be with certain people. My mom would be like, all right, now, they go to jail. We ain't coming to get you. I'm like, I don't do what they do. But, you know, when you got friends and you hanging with them, you know, that loyalty, you know. But I didn't go do the things that they did. And so I just felt like I had to hold my ground when I got to the NBA my first year. I made a lot of money. It ain't as much as these guys made, but in 1985, my average salary was $750,000. I don't think the NBA average was about $300,000 or $400,000 at the time. So the rookie salary was $75,000. Hell, they find guys that now. So I knew that I had to stand up and fight for everything that I wanted. And it probably kept me off the All-Star team, but that's okay.
Interesting. Now, who do you feel were some legitimate tough guys in your era? Guys that weren't all talk, but who could really, who would be willing to fight if push comes to shove?
Charles Oakley.
Obviously. Didn't you fight him? I think. Yes, of course. I remember. Yeah. Oh, that's like a match in heaven.
Yeah, we were the first people to go into the stands. We were fighting under the basket, into the stands. We were like 4 or 5 rows into the stands fighting. And I remember when I got to New York, we had our team meet, and we were watching a video. At the end of the damn video, Pat Riley put on me and Oakley getting into the fight. And he looked at us and said, now we fight together. And me and Oakley have been pretty good with each other since then. Nice. But Mace was tough, Anthony Mason. I tell you, I punched the guy, Calvin Nat. And I felt like he was trying to rough me up. I was about 205 pounds as a small forward in 1985. And I felt like he kept throwing me to the floor. Referee wasn't calling. I just got tired of that shit. And I just like threw some punches and hit him. And he looked at me and shook it off. I was like, oh, shit. I might have messed with the wrong one. And I hit him with some good shots, and he shook it off. And I went walking back. I went a fast walk. I'm not going to say a run, but a fast walk. And I was like, oh, man. They were like, hey, man, that dude right there, man, he tough. I was like, man, I just hit that mug with like, and then I was like, it was Alex English them too. And I got a technical foul, because back then they wasn't suspending you the way they do now for a punch. I got a tech, and I went to eat dinner, and Alex kept telling me, you need to stop all the fighting, dude. And I'm like, man, but they just, people being over aggressive, you know? And so I just felt like that's what I had to do as an individual. But before the game was over, I said, Calvin, hey, man, I just want to apologize for it.
Yes.
He looked at me and said, no problem. And I was like, I ain't getting back in it with him no more. He slammed me to the floor. I was just going to get up and keep playing. But I thought he was a tough dude. Maurice Lucas is
obviously.
Oh, my God.
Alvin Robertson?
Alvin Robinson was pretty tough. But I'm going to tell you, Akeem Olajuwon would punch you. If you hit him the wrong way, he would. But I'm going to tell you a guy that people may not even remember or know, but Clement Johnson for the Philadelphia 76ers, the backup center for Philadelphia on that 83 team. He was with me in Sonics.
Oh, okay.
And me and him got into it. My cousin beat me. So I just texted him and told him to meet me at the house. But me and him got into it one day. And he was like, "You can fool the rest of these jokers, but I'm gonna show you today." And I was like, and we were like, we about to, we was about to fight like the Clash of the Titans, and he wasn't backing down, and I wasn't. They broke us up, and then later on, he was like, "I'm gonna tell you, keep fucking with me, and I'm gonna knock you out." So I knew. I said, "Oh shit, he," but I didn't back down either.
Nice, man. Now, in '88, you finally become an NBA All-Star. Actually, you're putting up the same numbers like the season before, but now you're an All-Star in your third season. What was your reaction? Were you just happy? Were you relieved that the coaches finally show you the respect? What was your thought process?
My thought process was, because my cousin keep calling me, so I had to beep out for a minute and text him, tell him come to the house. Repeat that question again.
No problem. Like in 1988, you finally become an NBA All-Star officially.
Right.
After putting up basically the same numbers as the season before. What was your thought process? Were you relieved that you finally get the respect you deserve, or were you just happy to be there? What was your thought process?
To be honest, I really didn't even want to be there. That morning, I got a call, and they said I made the All-Star team. I get to practice. Instead of me getting congratulated, Bernie Bickerstaff started talking about we got other guys who deserve to make it. And so I felt like, why is he saying this? So I was like, I said, anybody on this team, they can have my spot. I don't even have to be there. You know, All-Star don't validate what type of player you were and who you were. So it wasn't what I thought it was going to be, because I felt like Bernie Bickerstaff, and I respect Bernie a lot, and this is a true story. When he started talking about other guys should be there, because Tom Chambers made it as a reserve the year before, and then I made it the next year. And when he started saying about guys deserve to be there, I was like, well, who are you talking about? Only other person could talk about was Dale Ellis. I'm like, he can have my spot. I mean, I just want to win. That's what I wanted to do, was win. So it wasn't what I thought it was going to be. So my mind to be there, and I probably should have took it a little bit more serious. And I already had hurt my knee anyhow. And Pat Riley already knew I hurt my knee, and I needed knee surgery. And I played the whole year on a bum knee that year. So I only played maybe 9 minutes. I told him I didn't even really want to play that much. And after I got in there and I hadn't scored, I told him I need to go back in and at least score. And they called a play for me, and I dunked it. So Keem Olajuwon threw it to me, and I did a two-hand dunk, came right back out. So that don't validate you if you are a 7 or 8 time All-Star, you know. Like myself one time, I think if you look at my numbers, I think I should have easily been 4 or 5 time All-Star. But that wasn't it. But I'm still happy the way my career went. I wish some things would change. I probably wouldn't have played in 1988 All-Star game. I probably would have sit out if I'd known what I know now. When I hurt my knee in January, I would have went and had surgery in January. I told my meniscus. I told my colleges. I told my meniscus. I told all of my colleges in my knee. And I played from January, mid-January to we lost to Denver in the first round. So I played from January to May with a bum knee, mid-May. I think the 20th or so, when they finally beat us. So I played with a bum knee. So if I had to do it all over again, I would have got my knee repaired. So later on in life, and now I've had like 7 or 8 knee surgeries because of that.
Oh, man. Now, in 1991, you joined the New York Knicks.
Right.
And that was at a time where Pat Riley was recruiting basically the toughest guys he could find. like if you take a look at the roster, it's like you look, okay, who are the toughest guys in the league? Okay, let me get Xavier, let me get that guy, let me get that guy. It really was like you guys not only could compete on the basketball court, but if he would have like an ultimate fighting tournament, he could put you guys right into the ring. Um,
Probably so. They people used to call us some goons. But I tell people, when you look, I could score. One
yeah, of
thing I
course
could do, I
you
could
guys could
score.
hoop. You guys could hoop.
And so, but that don't mean that we had to take crap. Because see, people look at, and I tell people, Michael Jordan, one of the dirtiest players you gonna play against. Larry Bird, he will do anything to win a game. He'll trip you. He'll grab your hand and then flop and say, "Oh, he fouled me." I mean, there's guys, Magic, Doc. I've seen Doc in Seattle. We were beating them by about 28. And we were walking up. I see Doc just going off on the Fisher. They got every call after that. That was his last. I mean, he got every call after that. So there's guys that, and I know you're talking about toughness, but toughness come in all types because you can be tough. Like Mike, he get the fussing, and boy, oh my God, they changed. But Michael Jordan, one of the dirtiest players, Magic, AC Green,
Yeah,
Christian, oh my God, he would hit you and then sweat Jerry curl all over you and stuff, and then you be sitting there looking. So I mean, but we had a tough team, man.
But I'm sorry to interrupt you, but the difference was those teams all had maybe one or two players who could play dirty.
Right.
You guys had like 12 of them.
Yeah, we did. Yeah, we had Stocks, Greg, Anthony, Marcel, Oakley, Patrick. I mean, we had a lot
Mark Jackson, right? Mark Jackson.
Mark Jackson. But you know what, though? Every time Mark would do something crazy and hit somebody and he'll throw his hands up, they wouldn't give him no flagrant foul. But as soon as I do it, whoop, they'll throw it. So, but Mark, he'll hit you with some dirty shots. I've been seeing him hit Paxson a couple of times. But we had a lot of tough guys. We had a lot of tough guys from New York. Stocks was from Tulsa, another tough city. Myself from Columbia. We had some guys that when they own, would be owned. But we had some guys that if you want to fight, they will fight too. So, hey, you may win the game, but you ain't going to win the fight. That's what we used to say.
One of my all-time favorite playoff series is definitely, I think it was in 92 when you guys were playing against the Bulls. This is the closest how basketball could also be described as war. Like that was insane. And I loved it. I really loved it. And, I'm the biggest Jordan fan there is, okay? And I know you're not the biggest Jordan fan, but hey, I love that man, okay? So having said that.
Me and Mike, we cool. It's when we play basketball. I don't even like my mother when I play basketball. So it's just basketball. Off the court is totally different.
Okay.
On the court.
Okay, but I'm a strong believer of that. Part of the reason why Michael Jordan is so great in my books is the kind of competition he had. It takes a great team to show how good the opposing player is. If Mike would only play against some boring dudes that can't play, his legacy wouldn't be the same. But you guys really challenged him. You really make him work for his baskets. And to be honest, I remember you once said, I don't know if you remember that tape, Airtime, the VHS tape of Michael Jordan's. There's a small part of an interview of you, and you said, "It's why should we back down from the Bulls on Michael Jordan? This is a man's game." And you played like that. You really played like that.
Yeah. Well, I think Detroit Pistons more or less started the real physical play and saying that we're going to take the best players out the game and get them frustrated. And I used to always tell Ron Thorne, if y'all don't straighten us out, man, you're going to get a lot of guys hurt and you're going to get a lot of guys wanting to fight every night. And that's what happened. I mean, Detroit Pistons were very physical. I mean, very, very physical. And they had guys that could score. Even Joe Dumars, he come out looking like a choir boy, but he was a dirty player too. Isaiah's the dirtiest of them all, him and Bill Laimbeer. And I was shooting a commercial with Bill Laimbeer. I said, man, I fucking hated you, and I still hate you. And me and him was drinking some beer. After we had about an 18-pack, I said, fuck you, you're all right, white boy, man. You cool with me, man. I said, you ain't as bad as everybody make you seem. And we was doing, I don't know if you remember the IBM commercial back in 2003 3 or 4 we did. But I got to know Lambeard a little bit and stuff, man. And it's, everybody got the same story. At the end of the day, it's basketball, man. It ain't personal. But Detroit started it. And we kind of carried over to what Detroit – we gave Detroit what they were giving everybody. When we knocked them out, I just tell them, stop whining. Stop whining. Shut the fuck up. I just tell them, shut up. And you know, and Oakley would be saying the same thing. And we beat them at their game. And Chicago, I guess they came in thinking that the same thing was going to happen like they did during the regular season. They didn't know this was a new season. I was under contract. I was for being a free agent that year. So if you go look at my numbers, because you can go online and look at my numbers, you'll see early in the year they were great numbers. But after January, I want to say January the 28th, I bought my contract out. And go look at from late January all the way to the regular season. 5 minutes, 10 minutes, they would just put me in, taking me out, and so my numbers wouldn't be as appealing when it came to free agent. And so I think the Chicago Bulls was looking like, well, X is not playing that well. They was just going to walk in. And so we had a team meeting, and Pat Riley said, we just need to get back to business. And that's all he needed to tell me, because now you're gonna turn the dogs loose and let me play the way I want to play? And that's what happened, you know, because I was averaging almost 18, 19 a game early in the first 3 months of the season. Last 3 months, there was contract talk. And that's why I respect the guys today. The owners try to do that, not play a guy, they still get their money. See, they try to devaluate you back in the 80s and 70s and in the early 90s. Guys like LeBron James them now, they're not being devaluated, because if you try to do that, they still going, somebody else pick them up, you know. And that's what they try to do with me. And, you know, I respect Pat Riley as a coach and as a former player. You know, we had a long talk after I left. And I just wish that I could have – I wish I could just have I wish I could have just been there 1 or 2 more years. I know we could have beat them. I know we could have beat them. I just felt in my heart the matchup with the matchup with
the Bulls.
The matchup with the matchup with Scottie Pippen. It would. I feel like that's my advantage. That advantage goes to me. Not to take nothing against Scottie, because everybody in the NBA have matchup problems, and some favor you and some favor the other guy. That's the unique thing about playing sports. You know, my matchup with Scottie favored me, but then you take a guy like Steve Smith, when he came into the league, and I was still scoring. I was in New York, I think I was still in New York. It favored him. He I don't know what that little damn rinky-dink move, he would always get me with it.
The Smitty?
And I always have trouble with him. Yeah. So everybody that favored me. And I just felt like I had an opportunity that I could that matchup just favors me. Right.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Now, after one season, you played for the Boston Celtics, which was the post-Larry Bird era.
Right.
But you still play with Kevin McHale and Robert Parrish, right?
Yes.
Do you wish you could have played with Larry?
Yeah. I wish I could have played with him. Great guy. Like I said, trash talker, talk more shit. Even when he wasn't playing, he'd come in and he would say, X-Man, I thought you was a tough guy. Y'all, you let them all take this beat out the locker room? I said, man, the captain voted. Well, he said, well, you should have been a captain, because I played 48 minutes and I play hard. I want me a damn beer after the game. And I was like, man, I'm just new to the team. The captains voted it out, the locker room. There's nothing I could do. But I mean, great guy that when he came in, he was with management during that time after he retired.
Now, if you look back at your NBA career, what team you wish you could have played for?
Actually, I was just stayed with the Seattle Supersonics. I love the city. I love playing with Gary and Sean. But I always tell people, when I got drafted with the Seattle Supersonics, Lenny Wilkins was the GM. We didn't even have a coach. When I got drafted, they told me the day I got drafted, they said, well, we're going to announce the coach, and then we want you and the coach to be up here at the same time. I went back to Kansas and continued to train. And then they called me and said, hey, we got the coach, Bernie Bickerstaff. So I was never Bernie's guy. And I was never, when Lenny Wilkins left, after I think my second or third year he left, and Bob Whitson became the GM. And now they're drafting Derek McKee and Olin Polynice, and then they flip-flop with Chicago, and that's how Chicago got Scottie Pippen. And Scottie Pippen is performing. I didn't know it, but now as an adult, I realized that my time in Seattle was numbered because they got to get Derek and Olin in there to look good because Scottie Pippen is not making all-star teams. So I was never their guy, but that was okay too because, you know, I felt like I left a great impression on the city. And when I go back, see people that I know and just walking down the street, X-Man, we miss you, man. And I'm like, hey, y'all know that was almost 30 years ago now when I got traded. Next year will be 30 years. So
crazy, man.
You know, people still recognize me, and I think that's part of my legacy is the Seattle Supersonics. You know, Oklahoma City Thunder, you know, right now is there, but, you know, hopefully one day the Pacific Northwest get a team.
Yes, absolutely. Now, X, one more question before I let you go. In your all-time top 5, you get the small forward position. Who are the other 4 players on your team? And you got to go by position.
At the guards, the point guard that I probably would take would be Isaiah.
Oh, I'm surprised. Okay.
I'm sorry, Magic.
There you go.
I would take Magic. I'm sorry. I would take Magic. I like Isaiah too. Isaiah, great guy.
Absolutely.
The next guy I would take at the 2, Reggie Miller.
Wow. Okay. Reggie over Jordan. I'm okay.
Oh,
it's your team. It's your team.
It's my team. I love Michael Jordan. So if Mike watching us, and you're right, I probably would. I don't even want to put myself in here. My 5 would be Magic at the point, Michael at the 2, James Worthy at the 3, Karl Malone at the 4, and Kareem Abdul-Jabbar. I like Elijah Wan, and I think Elijah Wan and Patrick, those are my boys. But I think Kareem Abdul, because the way he changed the course of the game, that would be my 5 right there.
Not a bad team at all. X, man, it was great to have you.
I would be the water boy.
Oh no, you be the 6th man. You be you sub for James Worthy.
Yeah.
X, it was great to have you on the show, man. I really appreciate it.
All right, we have to do it again. Let me know.